Welcome back to Mirror's Signal podcast. I'm your host, Josh Holleran, and today we are joined by Mel, who has recently passed her ADI Part 3 and is now an ADI. In today's episode, we talk about Mel's journey, the influences in her qualifying process, and how she found it, and also some tips if you're at the early stages and maybe looking for a trainer or considering becoming a driving instructor. Before we get on to the episode, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that subscribes to the channel, that leaves comments down in the comments section, and that shares any of the content. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure that you do. You can also give the episode a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share any of the episodes that you found benefit from. And if you have any questions for me, you can find me on the Facebook page or in the Facebook group, and they're both available at Mirror's Signal Podcast. If you're currently watching in video format, you can also get the audio version, and that's available on the YouTube Music app. For now, we will get on with the episode. I hope you all enjoy. Mel, how are you doing?
I'm good, Josh. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for coming on, and congratulations on passing your Part 3.
Woo! I'm an ADI.
You're an ADI. You've done it. How are you feeling now you've qualified?
Oh, still surreal. Hasn't really, don't think it's quite sunk in. When you see the green badge in the window, though, it's, yeah, I've got one of them now.
You've had a fun time of qualifying. I was watching your video earlier that you've put up on YouTube. What we'll do, if anyone wants the details of Mel's qualifying, we'll put it in the description if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no
We'll put
worries.
your channel in. But how did you find it? How have you found becoming an ADI?
Oh, where to start with it? um, at times, I wish I could run away as far as I could go. Times I couldn't get up out of bed. I couldn't literally get out of bed to teach. And then some days would just be the best day out on the road. So it's just, that it was just so many different emotions the whole 2 years, up and down, up and down. Yeah.
I do remember some of your journey. We spoke, it was a while ago, I think, when I don't know whether you was preparing for the Part 3 that got changed or before your second one. I can't remember, but I know we spoke and you had a bit of a roller coaster ride qualifying. And like I said about your video, it goes into more detail there. But some
Mm.
of the things I'd like to talk about that I think people might get benefit from is looking back on your qualifying and potentially some of the things that in hindsight you would change or maybe advise people do or don't do if they're at the early stages of qualifying. So are there some things that are obvious that you would change if you could?
Probably recognizing your own way of learning would be a good start, really. I know how I learn. I know that I'm a visual learner or a doer, but I'd watch and do. So in my video, I talked about learning to crochet, and also I was a cake maker, but I never did a course on cake making. It was literally watch something on YouTube, and go and do it. But this didn't happen in training. This was a package that you are provided with, and it's one size fits all. I'd guess that's the best way to describe it. One size fits all. When we talk about learners in car, we talk about like VAC, don't we? Visual, auditory. I can't say the other one. Yeah, that one.
Kinesthetic.
Kinesthetic. That didn't work. That wasn't implemented in my training. It was literally there's the criteria. There's the criteria. You got fit. There's the work, and this is what you're going to do. This is how you'd be a driving instructor. And it didn't work for me. It left me in a place where I felt I don't know what I'm doing. I literally don't know what I'm doing.
So what was it that was missing from your training?
Probably, well, no, definitely if I had more in car, if I asked to be buddied up, find a PDI to buddy with or somebody, and it didn't happen. It just fell on deaf ears. So if I know now, looking back, this is what I should have done. I should have made more effort, maybe, to put my voice out there and say, I need this. This needs, it's okay. I had no one really in the area, wasn't speaking to anybody, any other instructors or anything. So it wasn't part of a network of other instructors as such. So I didn't find. Now I could talk to people, but at the time I wouldn't feel able to talk, like to ring an ADI up and say, can I get in your car, or but that's what I needed. It's probably gone off on a bit of a waffle.
No, it's not. This comes up quite a lot, either on the socials and on the podcast episodes that I've done. And it's exactly that. It's watching driving lessons, and I find myself saying the same thing. People are getting to a part 3 and they've never actually watched a driving lesson. So they're trying to deliver a lesson and they haven't seen a structured lesson. So to then try and do it, and you said something quite interesting. You said about your learning to make cakes and you'd watch videos, or crochet, you'd watch videos. And I feel like watching that, you can almost follow it as it's doing it. You can hit pause, do a bit. I don't know why I'm saying this on a podcast, but I learned how to knit watching YouTube videos. My daughter got a knitting set and she couldn't do it. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have to learn how to do it so I can teach her how to do it. So I'm sat till midnight for God knows how long trying to knit, and I'm going again, pause, doing a little bit. And then I managed to knit about half a scarf and I'm done. She can figure it out herself. But I could watch that and I could go through it step by step. And then I could learn how to do it. And then I could practice. And then I didn't need the video anymore because I could do it. That I don't think works in a car doing 30, 40, up to 70 miles an hour. And every situation, you can do the same roundabout over and over again, but there's going to be a different car. There's going to be different weather, different visibility.
Different pupil.
Different pupil. So you can't learn from that side of it, I guess, YouTube. So it's that watching a lesson. I've gone off on a tangent now. What have you done to me?
That's good.
I feel though the message here is observing lessons and being observed delivering lessons live is where you maybe would have seen the benefit in training and it would have helped you.
Personally, yeah, for me. It just didn't work for me. It's nothing on them. It didn't work for me. That's how that was, that 20 hours. Yeah.
And that comes back to what well, it comes back to what you said at the beginning, doesn't it? Is understanding how you learn.
Yeah.
And then finding a trainer that can provide that environment.
Yeah. And some people might not know how they do learn. But pretty much we have our pupils in the car and we can ask them, like, like I remember in one of the books I've read, maybe Neil Whiteman's book, he's in there, he actually has a little quiz to work out what type of learner you are as a driving instructor. And it was saying, like, to ask like some questions to your pupil, like how, when they get a mobile phone, they all these pupils get a mobile phone, how do they learn how to use it? They unbox it. Do they read the instructions? Do they just go for it? Or do they Google something or go onto YouTube and watch something? And then you can kind of understand what type of person they are. Do they just get on with it? They know how to do it. You can kind of go, well, what do you know about the car? Do you want to just have a little go and get on with it? Or do you need me to tell you everything?
And that links straight to the competencies that we're supposed to be following as driving instructors for our learners. But we're almost not receiving it for some people in our training to become a driving instructor.
Absolutely. I even compared this. I was like, why am I being told I've got to be client-centered? I've got to figure out my pupil, exactly how they learn, rather than barking all the instructions at them or fitting them in a box and said, right, well, that pupil it worked for. Let's just replicate that lesson again for this pupil. It's going to work. But no, the person's different. It doesn't work. It's never going to work because everyone's different. You could get elements that might work, and that is the same as the training. All these PDIs or potential, like somebody who's got an interest in wanting to become a driving instructor, do they know? They do know how they best learn, but you're fitting. If we did that in our lessons, we wouldn't get very far, would we? No, it just wouldn't work. It's not client-centered.
No, and do you know what? We've had this discussion on the podcast before about we're expected to deliver client-centered learning, but there are some people that don't experience it in the training. So how do they know what it is? But I don't think we've discussed, not off the top of my head at least, that it's really important as a PDI, whether you're on a PDI license or teaching for free, whatever we're going to term ourselves as, a trainee instructor, the importance of understanding how you learn and getting yourself to a trainer that can deliver that for you.
Yeah. Because we're teaching skills. We're teaching awareness, anticipation, all that, car control. But we also need to learn our own skills. And we have skills to learn. How we do also control the car at, well, not at 70 mile an hour, because you don't want to be using any dual controls at 70. But we've got skills, rather than go, there's a set of dual controls there. They're fine. You'll be fine. You've got no clue. It just, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same, but we've controlled it from the passenger seat. It's very different than being behind the wheel.
There's a lot to think about as well using the dual controls, and I do feel live students can be, I mean, it's rare, but they're much more unpredictable, I think, than you're going to get in the role play as well. I mean, it's rare that I've had crazy things happen, but it does. And I mean, I've had people try and go around the roundabout the wrong way, and there's only so much preparation you can do. And then when it happens, you just need to be on it and fairly quick. So it's, yeah, when to use the duals, how to use them, your awareness. And then there's so much on top of it as well. When we're doing role play, you almost know that nothing's going to go seriously wrong. They're
Mm.
not going to go up a slip road the wrong way. They're not actually going to hit the parked cars. But then you get some learners, and if we're not managing the risk effectively, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I remember my trainer waving to me. I was looking out the window at someone else. I've looked at him and he's waving at me again. Where are you looking? I'm looking out. Wait, so watch me. But it's really when when you are with a real learner, you are watching them. You're watching their feet. You're watching what their hands. You are watching them. You've got to watch them, and it's so different. Yeah, you learn very quickly that you have to watch. You know.
Absolutely. And that's one of the skills that came up on the episode that went out last week with Becky about what skills do we need as driving instructors. And one of them was to be able to watch the learner and anticipate what they're going to do, along with
Yeah.
being aware of what's going on the road and anticipating
Yeah.
what everyone else is going to
Yeah.
do. And there is a lot. It takes time and practice, and it's not easy to get through the process and qualify. But we've done enough on kind of that up and down and the training, and I think it's a great point that you've raised there about understanding how you best learn and then trying to find things that are suitable for that. But what's enabled you to then go on and qualify and pass the part three? What are some of the positives? What can people go and do to become an ADI?
Podcasts. Podcasts is way up there. Everything that it just opened up my world. Like Terry Cook was my first podcast that I found. And yeah, it opened up that to other people, all these trainers, what they were saying. And I'd hit like, yeah, subscribe, let me do this course, let me do that one, and I spoke to these people. I signed up to their Bob's client-centered learning. I did a Lee Sperry course quite after my second fail. I did do that, but again, it didn't really rub off on me. It wasn't something that I got. But then, having said that, a lot of stuff that I've done, I didn't get. I'd read the books and listen to the podcasts. I'd fall asleep with an earphone in my ear. But a lot of it just didn't go in. And then I watched a podcast of yourself with Julia Malkin. And I contacted her. We'd done a bit of training because I had some pupils with, some SEN needs that I was having difficulty with. And then it was like, I think you've got ADHD. You've got these traits too, And looking at my diary, most of the pupils were telling me I've got autism, I've got dyspraxia, I have whatever, and I wouldn't treat them any different. They're not to be treated any different. It's just gonna try and teach you how to drive, be the best you can be, and but like little things, like one of my pupils, he'd be like, I can hear a rattle. Yeah, I can hear the rattle. It'd be like, well, I've got to stop the car. Let's stop the car. Let's go and find out what the rattle is. And it's literally like similar things like that, and I know now I've got ADHD. When I look back at all my time as I don't stick at, it's not that I love jobs, I love working, I do so many different things, but the I very creative person. You know, I would go from making cakes to crochet to teaching people how to drive. You know, and taxi driving or whatever, you know, just all sorts of. I love driving though, so I don't know where. I think we've gone off on one a bit. Rein us in again, Josh.
I'm just here to listen. And that's all I do. You've you covered it and then some. So you found a lot of different people, podcasts. You found Terry, the instructor podcast, Bob Morton, Lee Sperry, Julia Malkin, and it seems like they've all got a different approach to things as well, from thinking about
So
it.
many, yeah.
Yeah.
Go Green. Also, I was I was part of Lou's PDI group. That's where it really started, and I did have actually Louise Walsh did do a little video for me. She'd watched the video and she was like, "Lose the gum. You look unprofessional." I was chewing some chewing gum, and sadly, obviously, we know how things happened, and I didn't, you know, we had a couple of messages and then that was it. But she didn't see me pass eventually. But she was there from my first and my second fail, you know, and supporting. But you know, it was just me being me going, somebody must have this golden nugget that I'm going to find it and it's going to all make sense. And I'd go to the next one and I'd go to the next person. I'd go, right. And it was literally, like you said, very different people. Not dissimilar. There's similar things there, but you know, this one's saying this thing, this one's saying this thing. That's another different thing. And I suppose now I'm more just made up of all these fabulous people. It's not one person I can go, well, you know, like Bob really was amazing, but I'm made up of lots of different things. And I think Becky Seaton also, she was on Lou's PDI group as well. So yeah, that's again, you know, similar thoughts, you know. But I've everything what was said on a podcast, I'd be like, right, that person, I need to know about this. I need to sign up to this course and take my money. I haven't got any. Take my money. So this journey's cost me. I didn't, because it was literally whatever it cost. I'm going to find this golden nugget of information, and someone's got it, but it's actually all within me. It's not. We're not cloning. We can't be a Bob or a Lee or a. We are. It's us. It's all within us. You're a different driving instructor to me. We're united by, as Chris Benstead says, another name drop. We're united by a green badge or a badge, but we're all different people. We've got a different way of teaching. Our styles are different. I don't want to be like you, and you don't want to be like me. You certainly don't want to be like. But yeah, I want to be that person, but you can't. You're you.
I think that's really interesting what you've said there, that it's already in you. And again, to go back to the training, I think that comes back to the coaching side of it, and bring out that information like we do with our learners. Let's not try and cram it in. Let's quote Bob Morton.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob.
Let's not cram it in. We'll draw it out, and it's that coaching, isn't it? And I think it does feel like sometimes a lot of people are just overwhelmed with information, and this is what you need to know, this is what you need to do, this is how you do it, go and do it. And maybe that's not the best way for everyone. Did you feel, with all the names that you've mentioned and the information that you've got and the amount of knowledge that all of these people have got that you've mentioned, Did you feel that that was the right approach for you, or you was just searching for something?
I think I could again talk about Becky Seaton, very similar journey. She says she's just a geek. And I needed to do it because I felt, I guess this would be, I couldn't fail. I couldn't see myself failing. I I just had to be as good as I could be. It's not about being the best driving instructor. I want to be the best I can be. I might not be good enough for an examiner at the end of the day, but I want to be as good as I can be. So, I had some doubts as well. I've got my husband wasn't the most supporting person at the start of this journey because he thought it's a scam. That was his words, because he'd heard it from a family member who had gone down a route, probably in the 1990s, and said, this is a scam. But that's what he was basing it on, information that he'd got. So I was like, well, I don't think it's a scam. So I went down that journey, and it was like literally going, no, this is. So I had something to prove. Had someone doubting me to go, well, I can't fail, and yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. How did I pass? I don't know. Just dug deep, and yeah, I don't know. I've gone off on a tangent, but it was literally, yeah, I didn't. I thought I wouldn't pass. I felt a failure, but deep down, I don't know how I would have dealt with it if I had said, sorry, you failed again. I failed my part two. So my first attempt at that, and that caused me to go and drive 180 miles to go find a test somewhere I didn't know. But you couldn't do that with a part three.
No, that would be a struggle. You're going to end up lost somewhere and have a student that can't get you out. Do you feel the pressure was different on the last one? I know from watching your video, it felt like your mindset was slightly different on the last part three in terms of you've got something else set up. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, how did you feel going into it?
I had a pupil blow me out. What happened with her was I hadn't seen her since Christmas. And all of a sudden I get a message, are you doing lessons? And I wasn't, because my pink had run out. So I was like, spoke to somebody who's a PDI. I've never met her, but she's just somebody I'm acquainted with. And she said, this sounds like your part three pupil. Yeah, because I said she was doing really well up to Christmas, and she's had something happen and then come back to me. Go and teach her, for free. You've got no choice. Go and teach her for free. So I gave her three free lessons, doing really well. She said, yeah, I'll come and do your tests with you. Blew me out 2 days. All I had was my daughter, who is a full license holder. And we know, what do people say about full license? Don't take a full license holder. Don't take them. It's you can set up for a fail. And that was it. I had no choice. I had nobody else just to tell. And I'd seen some problems. I was like, right, I've got to sort some of these. I haven't got to sort them out. She's got to sort them out, because she's doing some just things that I wouldn't be doing. And that's exactly what it is, isn't it? We base it upon people doing something that you wouldn't be doing, or they're not doing something that we would be doing. That's basically it. Well, there you
Yep.
go. I've got stuff to work with. She would, she should be doing things. So, that is it. So the mindset really was, I've got this pupil who's not going to let me down. And I've already got a rapport with her. So I've just got to go. I'm going to swear what Bob Morton says, go and fix some shit. That's it. So my mindset was fix shit. Just fix shit. So, yeah. But the other thing, he was a different examiner. I'd had the examiner 3 times. The examiner failed me on my part 2. He failed my first part 3, my second part 3, and he wasn't there. I was expecting to see him on the 3rd attempt, and out walks a different examiner. But he had a different demeanour about him. He was chirpy. He was just pleasant. Gets in the car, and I noticed what he did. He ducked. He didn't move. The whole lesson, he did not move at all. The other guy, writing notes, continuously writing notes. If you see someone out the corner of your eye thinking, what are they writing? This is bad. But he didn't move. He had sunglasses on, couldn't see his eyes. And I just nudged my mirror, literally 2 or 3 mil. And I didn't see him at all in my mirror at all. And forgot about him completely. But also did my daughter, because she couldn't see him in the mirror either. Because he was ducked that low. I don't know how he did it, because he was about 6'5". I don't know where his legs were. But he literally hid. And she forgot about him. I forgot about him. Completely different energy in the car. Completely different. Makes so much of a difference.
That's something I've heard before, and it was me as well. On my first part 3 that I failed, I was trying to show the examiner how much I knew. And it's like, look, I know this. And on my second part 3, I forgot that they was in the back. There was a brief conversation at some point partway through. I think we might have been wearing face masks, and she couldn't quite hear what we were saying. So I think she asked us to speak a little louder. I can't remember the ins and outs, but there was a brief conversation. That was it. And yeah, on my second one that I passed, I just forgot they was in the back and just focused solely on my student and what they was doing. And I didn't feel quite the same pressure.
I think we could go back to my training. Had I have had more eyes in the back on me and hidden and not writing, and just someone just sitting there, you would get used to not noticing someone in the back. Obviously, the first couple of times you're going to be aware of them, but literally, the only thing that matters in that car is that pupil. That is it. And we forget that as driving instructors. On that test, when people say, "Oh, I've got to do this, I'm going to teach that on my test." No, focus on the pupil. What does your pupil need now, at this time at this moment in time? Not what they needed half an hour ago, because the pupil's probably going to show up a bit different once someone gets in the back, maybe, unless you've had lots of people getting in your car. Because that's the other thing, the pupil's not very they may not have had anybody sat behind them. They've never been a driver before, unless they've gone out with mum and dad. They might be used to having someone sat behind them. But no, I think it's not just for us, but having a pupil must, how they feel. I mean, my daughter didn't care. She said, I forgot about him. I didn't even take notice he was there. I was like, great, because she didn't. I think also because her being a full licence holder, she had a level of confidence because she's had passengers in the car. She wasn't, it was just like, yeah, I've got to do this for mum, yeah, whatever, you know.
I think the students will feel the pressure, I guess, if they know what it is as well. I mean, fair play to your daughter. I'm trying to think because if she knows how much this means to you as well and what stage you're at, and it's your third attempt, and if she knows the pressure that's on a third attempt, then fair play for her just cracking on and being your student. But I do know my first student for my part three, I told her what it was. So she knew it was like, if I pass this, I can be a driving instructor and I can charge and build a business. So she felt pressure not to make mistakes. And no matter how many times I said, no, make mistakes because that makes my job easier. Just make them all.
Shit.
And she just put too much pressure on herself, and then I delivered a terrible lesson. So it didn't go to plan at all. But on the second one, I didn't really tell my student quite the importance of it and what it was. It was more of a case of there's an examiner going to watch, make sure I'm doing the correct things. You happy to be a student? And he was like, yeah, that's great. Let's go. But to have a family member, that and the dynamic of that situation, fair play to you for passing.
I told her that it's okay because I'm out of this job anyway. Because I'd set myself up. I'd got my old job back as a taxi driver, and I was like, right, I'm going to go and do this anyway because of things in my personal life aren't great at the moment. I was like, I'm gonna do this. Pass or fail, I'm out anyway. My car was going back the following week from like back to the lease company. So everything was sort of folding up, and she was like, "That's okay, Mum. I don't care." Because I said, like, don't feel pressured. If I fail, pass or whatever. It's the same kind of result. And I said, I'm out anyway. But she was like, "That's fine. Don't worry about it. Like I'm not worried." I said, I've got another job. I've got a job to go to. Don't worry about it. It's not like I'm not going to be in a job. And I think that's generally what it was, that she literally could see, not that I didn't care, because I did care to pass. I did want to pass. It would have felt like, this is the way I describe it, an unexploded rocket, a firework. It would have felt like that I'd got to that point. That was the end point, and the firework never went off. That's what it would have felt like if I'd failed. But I think because she knew that it didn't really matter, it really took it all off of her. And there was a bit of a money incentive as well. So if you do this, I'm going to give you this. And yeah. So she was quite chuffed with that. She was like, yeah, I'll do that. I need some new clothes.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll dish this one out as advice. Take your daughter, pay them off. Job's a good one.
No, but I said, if I pass, you can, like, for helping me out, I'll reward, but yeah, not bribery. Don't be doing that to your pupils. But obviously with the pupils, even with my other two attempts, the pupils that I took, it's the same pupil. I took the same pupil twice. He got, I gave him 2 free lessons. One lesson before the test and a lesson after the test for free. Yeah.
I have known people do that. I mean, I done the same. I gave free lessons all the way up to my part threes because I wasn't charging. Yeah. And I mean, that's a different topic in itself because I can't see it, I guess, from your point of view as a PDI where you've got money coming in and you've got a business and then you've got this test. Yeah. And I can't understand the pressure that you're faced with on that test day because I didn't have that. I was teaching for free. And I guess that's maybe another thing that we've discussed it numerous times on the podcast. It's just something that changes the pressure, and it's an option that a lot of people don't seem to be aware of initially, that you can just head out, get some training and do it all on your own essentially and become qualified.
you don't need 40 hours, do you? If you go, no, you don't need to prove anything. You can just obviously apply for your DBS and for your PRN number, the personal reference number, and then teach for free.
Yeah.
Obviously do your part 1, part 2, obviously, and then go out and start teaching for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear how you was getting the experience, you was on the pink, you done your first 2 part 3s and struggled with them, but then your last one, you've come with a little bit less pressure. You've set yourself up elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to pass, but it's not a necessity necessarily. You don't have to pass to keep your business.
No. But my pink license also expired 11 days before my 3rd attempt. So I was already winding like up these pupils, like, you know, like not winding them up, just not winding them up, but literally, yeah, it was telling the pupils, you know, I'm not going to be teaching beyond this point because my badge is run out. And I started off just saying, oh, I'm going away for a couple of weeks because I half intended to come back. I half intended to keep my car. But as the time rolled on, I had a really bad January, like for lessons. Like most of the pupils didn't have money. And that's another thing that as a PDI, you don't have that knowledge that run up to Christmas and the first couple of weeks of January, quite iffy. You know, for me anyway, I don't think I hardly worked in December. Might have had 3 or 4 lessons. Then the weather, to consider we had a bit of snow or whatever, or a bit of ice. And then January, no one's got any money. Everyone's sort of gone back to work, hungover or whatever, and no one's got any money. So you start getting back going again in February. And so like my money was, I'm like, I've got no money and my money's running out. My mum wasn't well. And I just started dwindling down these pupils, telling them, you know, I've got past the 25th of March, I'm done. I've got no badge, can't teach, can't earn money. And this test is on the 4th of April. And that was it, you know, it was like, right, cut off there. So I taught my last lesson on the Sunday, and then that's it until about, I don't know, 10 days, 12 days or something to prepare for my test, which was really nice because I had nothing to do. And it was just literally like, what should I do? Because there's nothing really that I don't already know now. I'm not going to start messing about, taking out other packages or something. So it was really just to chill, you know, but that's another thing for PDIs, isn't it? That you're on that badge. You've got a 6-month badge. You might have started it in October. My badge started in October to the March. But literally, I probably was down about 4 weeks, not learning, not earning and not learning, which is the whole point of that badge. Earn and learn. Well, that's what they say. Earn and learn. Or not learn.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's a few things I think that we can talk about there. The first one is that diary management and experience, because you're exactly right. Our diaries go up and down. Like school holidays are hit and miss. Christmas, again, hit and miss. And then you've got bad weather that we need to account for. We've been all right my end this year without snow, so I've not really had to cancel for really bad weather. I did the year before. So you've got times when you're not going to be able to earn. And the next thing I found quite interesting was the time building up to this third part 3, because there's a difference. You've passed this one, but you had over a week where you could focus on you. because despite what we're doing, if we're delivering a driving lesson, at least in my opinion, I wouldn't be able to focus on me. I'd be focused on the student. I might have me in the back of my mind. I want to improve this. I want to be aware of this, but it's our student. We want to help them. But to be able to take over a week to just focus on you and mentally prepare for it, that must have put you in a good position for the part three.
So the week before the part three began San Harper's meditation and compassion course that you're also doing.
That we're on, yes.
And I didn't purposely do it, but I was like, wow, that's going to start the Wednesday. So I'm going to have two of these. Or I signed up for the meditation. Not obviously, it's a bit of me because I like my crystals. I like meditation. I haven't done much of it in the last couple of years. I've just been focused on training to be a driving instructor for the last 2 years. It's just engulfed my life. But I started that on the Wednesday, and then we had another one the following Wednesday, which was the night before my part three. We was all saying it's my part three tomorrow. Oh my God, you know. And Sam sent me some meditations, and they were let go. So let go, yeah. So she sent me a couple of these, and she said that might help you because it helped one of her PDIs, and turns up for that part three, and that's what I was thinking. I just need to breathe. I just need to breathe. Practice just what we've been, and it was literally only in 2 weeks that reignited the meditation that I'd previously done, and that box breathing was one that I'd done on my part two also. So I'm you know, visualizations, you know, what we talk about with San is so you know, that's what I remember pulling up with my daughter and saying, I just need to breathe a minute, you know. And my daughter was like, Mum, just have a little swig of water, it's fine, you know. And I was thinking, saying in the back of my head, just breathe.
We have got a lot of names dropped in this podcast episode, haven't we?
Oh my God, it's just a plethora. Any others? I think that's basically majority of your guests.
Yes, yeah, I think we are there, and it's fascinating to see all of the different people that you've spoke to and how they've all, I guess, shaped you to get to where you did
Heavily
in the end.
influenced.
Yeah.
You are they are all influencers, amazing influencers, and I have been influenced. If they had a product to sell, like, here, buy this washing soap, I'd be going, oh, I need to buy that now. You know, heavily influenced by all of them, and they're all fantastic. You know, all apps. Well, there's a couple more I haven't mentioned. Should I just drop their names in again? Another training.
Why not? If you've made it through here and you've not gone and bought someone's course yet, maybe check out these as well.
Inspire instructor training. Phil Cowley, Dinah Todd, amazing woman. She gave me phone calls. We done a mind map together. Yeah, she'd given me so much support. Voice messages, yeah. So they're not forgotten. There's just so many people that have been part of my journey. And they all know, and they literally go, you just need one voice. You need to stop what stop listening to all this stuff. There's so much information you're getting. But yeah, it's just me.
this has condensed most of my episodes with trainers into about one 40-minute chunk, how to get through your part three. I think that's something at the end that you mentioned there, that one voice. I
Yeah.
think because there are so many people with good products and a huge amount of knowledge that you can be overwhelmed with it and have too much at times and be like, I want to be like that person, I want to do this, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what to do. You got all of this information and we just need to put it together. And there's that much. It's really difficult, especially in such a short period of time as well.
So again, words of the wise, Becky Seaton, what she said on your last podcast, find someone who resonates or you get, rather than me go down this one. Is this the answer? Has this person got the answer? And actually, we're back to that. It's all within us as well. But you do need to get, I don't know if it's just one person either. It literally, but you could, yeah, my brain has been.
We've done one hell of a circle there. We've discussed all of your training and it's come back to understand how you learn and
Yeah.
find someone that you resonate with.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
massively important though, and that's not come up, not to the point that we've discussed it on understanding yourself and how you learn. And then we've mentioned Terry's podcast. There is so much content there from him. And then if you go back through my episodes as well, with just so many great trainers and PDIs and ADIs that are sharing similar messages. So you don't need to go and necessarily pay for a course straight away. You can just watch or listen to different trainers. Find somebody you're like, I get what they're saying. I think I can work with them and then reach out. And I feel that way makes more sense than I like the look of that driving school. I don't know who's going to train me. I don't know what their training program is, but it's going to cost half the price of everything else. Initially, I'm going to go with them because, as other people have mentioned, the cost and the added cost of extra things that you need. So it's been quite a good journey, and we've come back to understand yourself. You've got it there. You just need to find someone to draw it out of you.
Yeah. And also, like, I think it's been mentioned before about, again, referencing Becky, it's the last podcast I've listened to. And she was only on the other day, wasn't she? So it's all fresh there. She said, that meet your trainer. And a lot of the big schools, I'm reading on these forums that they go, my trainer's 4 hours drive away. How? How? Yeah, how are you going to train when they're 4 hours drive away? Who's got time to fit that in their day? And be a PDI and work and maybe have another job, because quite often people have another job, and that's another thing. Don't go getting rid of any jobs. Do something part-time, keep your job, keep a foot in sometimes.
Yeah, without us, because I think this is another podcast episode on its own, is
Yeah,
you've not got a guaranteed job until you've got your green badge.
you haven't got a job at all until you pass.
Yeah.
You've got nothing. Yeah, and you haven't got a job. You've got a business.
There's another episode.
You've got a business to run, to start up, set up, which
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in the process of trying to set up something,
I love it. We'll keep our eyes out and see how you get on with it. But what I would like to do now, if you don't mind, because I'm sure we can discuss many things, but I do have some tell me questions. Do you mind if we go through some of those with you?
Yeah, sure, Josh.
So we'll go for the first one. Can you tell me what car you would drive if it was the only car you could drive forever?
Oh, that's a hard one, isn't it? Hmm. Probably something I've I don't know, something old, something Ford, something
Okay.
old. Don't know really. Maybe an XR3i. Never had
I
one.
wasn't expecting that.
Maybe an XR3i. Never had one. But yeah, yeah, a cabriolet one. So when they were about, I'd be like, no, I can't mess my hair up. So I wouldn't have a cabriolet. I definitely would not worry about my hair so much.
That's just brought back some memories. My stepmom, when we was younger, had an XR3i convertible. That's why when you threw it out, I'm like, I remember one of them.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, probably old and Ford, yeah. Or a Porsche, but yeah, they are very expensive now.
So the next question then, can you tell me if you could deliver a driving lesson to anyone, who would it be?
who would I who would I want to teach? Don't know. Don't know. That's you've thrown me at this one. Um, don't know. My dad, if he listened to me, I'd like to slow him down a bit, get him to use his mirrors a bit more often. But do they have to be famous?
No, it could be anyone. And you don't have to really teach them anything, even if it's just in the car with them.
I mean, my dad's a biker, and he's like, yeah, I've got to be aware, obviously, or I'll be dead. And he hasn't rode a bike for a while, but still, I'm like, did you even look when we took off this roundabout? No, you know, slow him down a bit as well because he's in his 70s now, and he's just he blames the brake pedals just too sharp, and I'm like, okay, you just didn't slow down early enough.
Well, he knows a qualified ADI now.
Yeah, but that's the trouble. I don't know if you've had that with anybody, your family members. You start looking, you start, don't say anything.
I'm not saying anything on record. She might watch it one day.
Good stance that.
No, nice answer there. Can you tell me the best advice you ever received?
Oh, what something I took on board. I've received a lot of advice. Did I take
What's one thing that stuck out?
Advice? Just be yourself. Yeah, just be you. Yeah, and it literally is. Just be us. Just be you. Be me.
Nice. I think that's one of the messages throughout this episode as well, really,
Sorry,
isn't it?
it's
One of the many.
yeah. We won't go woo woo. And we'll leave that for Fan.
Yeah, we'll get that course finished first. So can you tell me your favorite book?
Um, oh, I'm not really. I do read books, but I'm more audible.
It can be an audio book. That's fine.
Yeah, an audio book. So, can I swear? Like using the
Yeah, say whatever you want.
How to Be Fucking Awesome by Dan Meredith. It's an amazing audio book.
Okay.
Yeah, that's again, I know he says on a lot of things, if you don't, you could listen to it, you can listen to the book and not do anything about it, and then you haven't really done anything, have you? So that's kind of like me. I listen to all these things and don't always implement stuff, and I go back and read things or listen to. Did I listen to that before? Did I write that down? And it's all this information. Yeah. just that was a good. I need to listen to it again. It's still on the Audible anyway, isn't it? So I bought the book as well, but again, I read stuff. I can't take in stuff. There's so much going on in your brain. Yeah, I can't read and listen and distract. Oh,
So the next
not
one
my
then,
kids.
can you tell me one message you would give to someone who's considering coming into the industry?
Yeah, don't bother. Considered that, and I was like, no, that's really unfair. Can't say don't bother. That'll put all the trainers out of business tomorrow. um, really do some homework. But the problem is, by the time they've got to the end of this podcast, they've already signed on the dotted line. That's the trouble, because who goes looking for stuff before being a driving instructor?
Not me.
No, you sort of go, oh, I'm in this environment now, and start looking at things. Go, oh. So yeah, that's really, really difficult to give a piece of advice, but it's really just don't sign up to anything that you can't get out of easily. Might be a good thing, because if you're contracted for 3 years and you're stuck, I mean, there's a few horror stories, isn't there, about you fail. I've seen people saying, how am I going to get out of my contract? Oh, you've got to fail your third attempt to get out of it. Or they decide they don't actually like the job. It would be a good thing to try before you buy. Wouldn't it be nice if you could get in a car and start? I mean, some people do actually go, I taught my daughter, I taught my son, really enjoyed it. But teaching son and daughters is different, because yes, they know their child, and I think they probably do a better job sometimes, possibly than we do, because they do know their child. But yeah, I don't know what advice. There's so much you could say.
I think those messages are important that you've just
so
said
many
there.
Yeah, just don't hook up to something that you can't get out very easily. Try before you buy. That would be a really nice thing, if you could just get in, teach a few lessons or watch a few lessons before you commit to anything. Before you spend, £8 just for a DBS, that's fine. You haven't done anything, but all the tests we know are very expensive, and you might just go, I don't like this.
Yeah, I have had people observe driving lessons that were considering becoming a driving instructor, and it might just be me. They're not driving instructors, but it was one person was teaching their children, well, their son, and I ended up giving his son a few lessons, and he observed, and he was toying with the idea of becoming a driving instructor. And another one was a friend that was looking for something else. And they both kind of watched a lesson and was like, I like the idea. I'm not sure I could do it all day. And you know what? It's much better it happens before a part one stage than you're potentially £2,000-3,000 down, and then it's like, I don't actually like this. It's a bit late.
And another little thing that sticks in my head is, I remember Lou and Blaine Walsh, why do you want to be a driving instructor? And it was something that they were saying something about, reasons why you'd want to be a driving instructor, and that how driving, in like loving driving, isn't particularly a good reason to come into being a driving instructor. And that was me. I love driving. I've drove Royal Mail vans. I've drove taxis, minibuses, I considered, I've actually got a provisional bus license. I was going to be a bus driver before I did the driving instructing. Do you know what put me off being a bus driver? I asked them, what happens when you want to go to the toilet? And they went, just park your bus up, tell your passengers, lock them on the bus, tell your passengers that you're going to go toilet. Right, okay. It's like that massive bus parked up somewhere. Yeah, cars are easier.
Still a challenge as a driving instructor, fitting in them toilet breaks.
Yeah, we just don't drink enough. That's the problem, isn't it? That's another problem. Yeah.
Yes. Don't drink enough. Don't eat at the right
Problem.
times. And we hold it in. So it'd be all right. I can wait half an hour until I finish this lesson.
Yeah. And drive to the next petrol station. Yeah. And it's a bit similar to being a taxi driver, really. Yeah, you get there and the toilet's out of order.
Yeah. And I'm like, can I use your staff one? No, you can't.
Yeah, I do that. But I've had that as a taxi driver too. That's the same. Yeah.
I think we've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. So
yeah,
that was.
Yeah, you can cut out. You can edit.
These are good. These can stay. A message to someone who wants to become a driving instructor, and we end up talking about toilet breaks and
catheter.
Yeah, make sure you're drinking. And I don't know, carry an empty bottle or something.
That's all right if you're a bloke.
Well, I don't know. I reckon I'd still get in trouble. But again, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move on.
Can you tell me one piece of advice you would give a student before they're going for their driving test?
Oh, so this is another podcast episode that I watched, and I think Fiona, yep. I think it was your podcast.
Might have been Fiona Taylor.
Yeah, Fiona Drive, isn't she? Yep. That's her school, isn't it? I'm sure you had her on. I'm sure it was from
a few weeks back, yeah.
She said that she gets her pupil to stand up like a boxer. And I think she was saying to you about how your stance is when you're in the ring. You stand up nice and straight. You know, you're going to meet this examiner. Don't slouch in your seat. I told my last pupil that I went to test, he was literally the week before my badge ran out, I took him to his test. This was his second attempt. And I was like, come on, stand up. Let's stand up. And everyone was sat down in the waiting room. They were looking at us laughing. Going, where are you going? It's like, stand up. Come on, we're going to meet this examiner. You're going to do it. You know, we're going to get this, you know. And he stood up and he was like that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my advice for my next pupil I go to test would be, come on, let's stand up. Let's stand up nice straight. Take some deep breaths, you know. Getting some Sand Harper breathing in there. Yeah.
And there was me thinking that we'd finished with the name dropping, and then we go and drop in Fiona Taylor.
See, I'm so influenced by people, and I remember your podcasts. What I don't remember is what question I need to ask. That was another thing, wasn't it, on Becky's? You know, all these questions. Ask this question, ask that, ask a direction question or whatever, I don't know. Just ask a question. Control them if you need to, you know. Ask them what their plan is, what they're going to do. They're going to put their foot on the brake. That's a good question. When are you going to put your foot on the brake?
My foot is on the brake. Why are we not slowing down? Use the brake.
Exactly. My car's still going fast. That's what I was like the other day. Brake. I was like, no, Jules. Yeah.
So there's some good advice in preparation for your driving test.
Yeah, exactly.
Use your brake when you need to.
Use your brake. Yeah, that's it.
There's a great one. So the last question then of these is, can you tell me something you wish you were better at?
Oh dear, there's loads. Wish I was better at talking on podcasts. I wish I had a bit more confidence really in myself. because this is really out of my comfort zone. But I want to help people, so to be better at communication would be a good idea. Yeah, yeah.
Tell you what, you've done well tonight. We've had a lot of great information, lots of great names, and yeah, I think we've quoted most of the trainers that have been on the podcast. You've
I
taken
mean,
little gems from all of them.
most of the trainers in the country. Yeah.
Nice. And then the
Green rises
final,
to the top, as they say.
what was that? Sorry.
Green rises to the top, as they say.
There we go.
There you go. They're all the cream.
It's yeah, we've had some names, we've had some good information and sharing your journey as well. But are there any final messages that you'd like to share with people?
No, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else to say. No, just yeah. Just try before you buy. You'd go and sit on a settee, wouldn't you, before you bought it and go, try that one for size.
I'd let the boss deal with that.
Yeah, but yeah, you'd still go and have an input in it, surely. No, no, not at all.
I want that one. Okay.
I will have grey.
I get to do the paying bit at the end.
True. But when you're doing that sort of thing, you've got to do something for you, then you need to find the perfect fit, something that you don't fit a box, that it fits you. There you go. That's a nice fit.
Look at that. What a place.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Mel, thank you so much for your time and sharing your journey and all of these great tips for people. I've really enjoyed talking to you tonight. It's been really insightful as well. Lots of things that maybe we've not thought about or discussed before. Thank you very much.
It's all right. Thanks, Josh. Thank you.